Hey everyone, it's Christian, your Vancouver realtor, and the topic for today's video is, are these new rules going to sink the real estate market? I don't think so. They're not meant to sink the market. They're meant as cooling measures. If you're late to the party, what this means is the government is going to introduce really what I refer to as transparency rules to the buying process. When you're buying a house or you're buying a condo, that makes perfect sense. I'm all in favor of that. I think most realtors are too. I want to go through a couple of the suggestions I've read about here on CBC News, share them with you, and share some of the implications. It's interesting, I was reading through the comments section for the CBC, and people go on, and they dump on realtors and they dump on the government and say, oh, the realtors won't like these changes. I actually do like a couple of these changes. I think they're gonna make my job a lot easier. And so the very first change I want to share with you, which I think will be a lot better, is this new rule that there's going to be a 0.1 to 0.5% fee with any offer. So let's say a buyer makes an offer and now they have that 3-day cooling period, right? Because this is the whole shebang. The government is saying buyers can't just make subject-free offers. They need a time to digest what they've just bought, 72 hours, and then be able to decide if they want to move forward or back out. Now, of course, backing out is not much fun for the seller. So what the government will also do is say, well, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you go ahead and make that offer. However, we're going to put a 0.1 to 0.5% fee with your offer, which means if you're making an offer on $1 million property and you back out, it's going to cost you $1,000 or up to $5,000, which all of a sudden, think about that. It's going to remove a lot of those frivolous offers, right? I call it a paper offer. It's when a buyer is making an offer, maybe they're not very serious, and they just tell their rookie realtor, hey, let's just try it. Right? Or you get a lot of those lowball offers, right? The buyer says, hey, you know what? Let's just try it. Well, now if the seller were actually to accept your offer and now you back out, it's going to cost you $1,000 on $1 million property. So all of a sudden you might think twice. You might think, yeah, I don't know. I might not want to make that offer. So in that sense, as a realtor, I really like that, because that's going to make buyers more consider more what places they want to make an offer on. And I like that. I like that as a realtor. And I think I also prefer that as a seller's agent too, because I know if we go back and forth with this buyer group, they're not going to just want to pull out anymore. It's going to cost them a few $1,000s. So I think that's a really, really good move by the government. Now, again, it's a 3-day cooling off period. It's similar to what we see in pre-sales. In pre-sales, it's 1 week. Now, there's differences. In pre-sales, the product is not yet built, right? It's all in your imagination, right? It's on, well, there is a presentation center, there's a model show home, there's a model tower and floor plans available. But in resale, you do have the opportunity to walk through the home or put your parents on FaceTime if they're back in Calgary and show them the home. So that's going to be another element. So we have the 3-day period. We've got the fee associated with it. Other point that the government has said from their sort of advisory panel is to provide all the Strata documents before the listing ever hits the real estate market, before it ever hits the MLS. Well, that's just kind of good standard practice. I do that always as a seller's agent. I always make sure I have all the documents. You will find that most good real estate agents do order the Strata documents early. They are posted and available for all realtors and all their buyers right away from day one. I've just had one here where I've listed a home this week in Kitsilano, And same thing, we had the documents 10 days early. I do that because it's a more transparent process. It's easier for the buyers, right? And they can comb through those documents. They may have a whole ton of questions to ask me, and I'm happy to answer them. And if I can't, maybe the Strata property manager can. So the idea is just providing more information up front. We kind of already see this, so I don't think this rule is going to make a whole big difference, a whole world load of difference. I would say now another rule here is that there has to be a disclosure, an anonymous disclosure of any offers that have been made. I like this too. I think this makes a great deal of sense. You know, there have been occasions when I've been a buyer's agent and I've called the seller's agent and I've said, look, how many offers do you have in hand? And he said, I've got 2 offers. And for whatever reason, I thought, I don't trust that guy. You know, I can get the heebie-jeebies too if I feel someone is being dishonest with me. And for someone like me, my job is really talking to people, qualifying them on the phone to see whether they're giving me the straight goods. They're being honest with me. And if I feel anything like that, I share that with my clients. I say, you know, I'm not so sure this guy's being straightforward with us. So a system that says you have to disclose, whether it's online or on paper, the number of offers that have been received, and maybe the agent and the brokerage they work with, I like that. And then that form should go to the seller. Seller signs off or initials. Okay, we had 4 offers. Bob Jones from Century 21, Lisa Winfield from Remax or wherever they're from. And then the seller knows, those go out to the buyer's agents, and we all know who's made an offer on that property. I like it. Now, last one here, quite interesting, is what's called removing the blind bidding process. So as of now, of course, as a seller's agent, when I'm wearing the seller's agent's hat, I have fiduciary duty to represent my seller to the best of my ability. And of course, that means I cannot disclose the offer numbers that I'm getting from the different buyer groups, right? It wouldn't help. If I were, we would be entering an auction process and the buyers would be coming up incrementally. Maybe, you know, one would offer 836, another one offers 840, 845, and so on. And of course, we want to get as much money for the seller, so we don't tell the buyer's agent. We're not allowed to. Now, if this proposal comes into play and we have a sort of an open auction process, that could get quite interesting. I think I might like that. And I don't know where we would do that. Would we do that online? Would we line up in front of the house or the condo? In parts of Australia, that's what they do. They sit right there in front of the house and they just start going around. Okay, Bob over there, you know, 950,000, 975 from the group. I don't know if they do it exactly like that, but that sure would be quite interesting. It would add flair to the home buying process. So we'll have to see what they do. Maybe they just create an online registry. I think that would be fine too. So I'm open to these new rules. I certainly think a fee for backing out of an offer is a really good way to go. I think that's going to make a buyer's agent's role a lot simpler and a lot easier. It's going to remove and weed out all of those flimsy fake offers that really aren't legitimate. So if you've got comments, questions, you find some value or entertainment in this video, give us a thumbs up or subscribe. We love having you, and we'll see you next time.